Hey everybody, is that there's another one of those CCN roundtable discussions for refrigerants. The interesting thing about these roundtable discussions is that they never seem to have anybody from the natural refrigerant side. So you know what? I thought, why don't I give you my side of it? Let's hear what they've got to say, and then let's hear what the natural refrigerant side, that's me, has got to say about that. All right, over to Stuart.
It's a pretty complex issue. There's many factors around the type of refrigerant that we use, particularly as we're moving forward now to new refrigerants that have a higher safety requirement, and the standards and the implementation of these refrigerants from an installation, a transport, a storage, a use, a servicing, and an end-of-life perspective. There is no real silver bullet there, but the industry is making great progress and moving forward quite well. We see this as a challenge that, the industry that we work in, HVAC&R, has had many challenges over the last 20, 30 years. And we've basically been able to step up and meet those challenges very effectively. So we see the ability to be able to transition to these lower GWP refrigerants as quite doable, but there are many considerations that we have to be aware of, in particular safety, as we get to these new refrigerants.
Well, that was Stuart's comment about how the industry stepped up and how safety is a big issue. But let's talk about what happened in the last 20 to 30 years. We have a hole in the ozone layer, thanks to a lot of that's caused by HCFC refrigerants. And then we went to HFC refrigerants like 410A and R32, and we have problems with global warming. Now, the next part that we have a problem with is PFSA, forever chemicals. They don't talk about that, do they? But 70% of PFSA, or forever chemical pollution, comes from F-gas refrigerants. So how well have we really done as an industry? I think we've done terribly. I mean, Sydney drinking water is not safe anymore because of the amount of PFSAs that are in it. So no, we didn't do well. That's just bullshit. We should call them on that. Let's talk about the safety side. So they said that safety is important. Well, you know what? When they released R32 machines, they didn't do any training for those machines when they come in. When Air brought out its document on flammable refrigerant safety guide, they deliberately removed the section on products of combustion. Toxic chemicals of the combustion, like hydrogen fluoride, which can be lethal. 1 gram of it on your hand will kill you. They don't want to talk about that. So what's the safety side? They also didn't want to talk about diesel effect with refrigerants like R22, R410A, R32. How does diesel effect work? Well, you don't need ignition, you need compression. So if you have the refrigerant, which is the fuel, the air mixed right, and you compress it, it explodes. There's a whole report by Tokyo University about how dangerous that is. Funny they forgot to tell us about that. Let's have a look at what the next guy, Russell, has.
Very concerned that unfortunately maybe a heat pump will blow up. We don't really want to say this, but that will be the crux of the matter. So very much the onus from the industry and from government is to ensure that the installers really know what they're doing. And I think that's the challenge. Certainly from a Europe perspective, we're worried that there just won't be enough installers who are trained in time to get the 60 million heat pumps, let's say by 2030.
That's really interesting for Russell to care about a heat pump blowing up, especially in Europe. Well, lots of them are exploding. Lots of R32 machines are exploding in Japan when they're trying to pump them down. And you know what, Russell, you're right. A heat pump did explode in Poland last week, and killed 2 people. It's interesting, it was a 410A machine. And they probably didn't know about diesel effect because this industry hasn't taken the time to teach people about diesel effect. So you know what, when it comes to the round table discussion, maybe if you made it more fair and brought educated people from the natural refrigerant side into it and didn't just make it a free-for-all for the chemical refrigerant side, we'd be safer, we'd be better for the environment, and we'd be better for the people that are working with it.